Good morning and welcome inside the WVLT newsroom here on Thursday, February the 26th. I'm Will Puckett. We appreciate you joining us right here on WVLT Plus. We have some heavy news today we need to get to, and also some hopeful news that Kyle's going to join me here in just a second to talk about. It might involve one of the favorites in East Tennessee and how she is getting even further involved in her home community. We're also going to take a look at your forecast. Kyle just telling me that there is a series of impacts on Sevier County from the rain. We also know that there is some rainfall that's causing flooding in Anderson County. So Kyle's going to have your full first alert forecast here in just a little bit, but we do need to get to a handful of your headlines right now on WVLT Plus and here on Catch Up Quick. Right now, we're learning more about the investigation into an inmate accused of stabbing a correctional officer at the Morgan County Correctional Complex. Officials say Officer Dustin Padigo's death is being investigated as a homicide. We have been following this story for you since yesterday. I'll go ahead and restart this video to show you that this is Reginald Steed. He is the man who officials say stabbed, again, Corrections Officer Dustin Padigo. All right, we do want to emphasize the reason why you will not see Officer Padigo's picture on WVLT's airwaves. We have been in contact with the family, and they asked us directly to please not share any pictures of Officer Padigo. We are going to honor the family's request not to show you any pictures of the officer. Again, if you are wondering why we only have Steed's photo, the man accused of stabbing and killing Officer Dustin Padigo, it is because his family, Padigo's family, has asked us to not share pictures of their loved ones, and we are abiding by that request and letting them have their moment to mourn the loss of a loved one. Now, the Tennessee Department of Corrections says that Steed stabbed Padigo late Tuesday night at the prison in Wartburg. Steed was taken to another facility. The prison remains on lockdown today. Again, this happened Tuesday, and they remain on lockdown. The Department of Correction tells us that they are not holding visitation this weekend because of this situation, but the inmate Reginald Steed, at the center of this investigation, has been moved to a separate location. We also know right now that Steed was currently serving a 27-year sentence on multiple charges that include aggravated assault and attempted voluntary manslaughter. TDOC says they are the head of the investigation, but it is still in its early stages. Again, also want to note that in Tennessee, the Department of Correction does not have an S at the end. It is Department of Correction, not Department of Correction. So if you see that, it is technically correct. It is just the Department of Correction, not Corrections. Again, the individual accused of stabbing Dustin Padigo is serving a 27-year sentence, according to what TDOC told us yesterday. All right, now we also do have an update for you from State Representative Ed Butler and Senator Ken Yeager. They sent a joint statement from Republican leadership in Nashville yesterday that reads in part, "This act of violence will be thoroughly investigated to ensure the individual responsible for this heinous act will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law." Again, that is a joint statement coming from State Representative Ed Butler and State Senator Ken Yeager. We're continuing to follow this story for you, and we'll update you again here on WVLT Plus and throughout the days and coming weeks on WVLT News and inside your news app. All right, happening in the city of Knoxville in Knox County right now, a trial is underway for the teen accused of stabbing this 13-year-old Savannah Copeland, the young girl who attended Powell Middle. Her stabbing death that happened back in 2024. The 15-year-old Malachi Harris, who was accused of murdering Copeland on a walking path in the Broadacre neighborhoods of Powell in 2024. Juvenile Court Judge Tim Irwin is currently set to decide if the young man will be tried as an adult or as a juvenile. The suspect and his attorney are fighting to keep the trial in juvenile court. They are claiming that he acted out of self-defense. However, that if the prosecution is arguing that Copeland was stabbed multiple times. They cite and point to statements that were made by the 15-year-old at school the next day as a reason why this should move to adult court. Again, we are in the courtroom for this court hearing and are continuing to follow this as it unfolds for you. We'll let you know as this plays out. A very heartbreaking and terrible story, but one that we're going to follow for you and see how it plays out in finding justice for this 13-year-old Savannah Copeland. For you, trust us to continue to follow that. All right, McKay's, huge news breaking late Wednesday night. McKay's, after 40 years in business in Knoxville, is set to close its doors. They say in a statement that they have sold their Knoxville location and they will end operations on May 3rd. Today is the last day that you can take things to McKay's to have them sold or to sell them to McKay's and then they sell them. They'll be open until May 3rd, but today is the last day to get items to McKay's in Knoxville and have them sold elsewhere. Sunday, May the 3rd is the final day. McKay says simply they're closing their Knoxville shop, going out of business, but they remain open in Mebane, North Carolina, Winston-Salem, North Carolina, Chattanooga, and Nashville. Their other 4 locations are remaining open. Again, McKay's announcing late Wednesday night that they have sold their Knoxville property, and they are set to close on May 3rd, a Sunday of this year. All right, let's go ahead and bring Kyle in this morning. We're going to get to his first alert forecast for you in just a little bit. But Kyle, right as you were walking in the door this morning, huge breaking news that mixes Sevier County and Knox County together, that East Tennessee Children's Hospital is no more. It is now Dolly Parton Children's Hospital.
Yeah, I think a lot of people may not have known this was happening, but the news coming out around the 8 o'clock hour this morning, and of course letting everyone know that they were making this announcement. They've already started making some of the changes on their website. It's the first thing you see on Children's Hospital's website now. But Dolly, of course, as you know, she's very rooted with the children. She's very rooted with East Tennessee and wanting to help put a stamp on there. And you know, when she puts her name on something, it doesn't come lightly, but it also comes with people who want to be a part of that and part of the excitement. So for Children's Hospital, I would have to imagine this could lead them into a whole new world of fundraising opportunities that they are able to do now, just simply using that name, which they can reinvest back into the community. And there's a Children's Hospital location in Sevier County. So while the main hospital may be in Knoxville, they do have branches and threads all through East Tennessee. So opportunities there to expand those reaches probably even further than maybe what the hospital's been able to do so far with the little satellite locations that they have in different communities across the area.
Dolly recorded about a roughly and a half minute video that we'll play for you in just a little bit, but I want to read this from that video again that we'll play for you here just momentarily. She says, "I am so honored to support these doctors and nurses and their team members and volunteers who show up every day with courage and kindness." Again, it's just incredible what Dolly has done. And in the beginning of that video, which we'll show you here in a little bit, she went into obviously growing up in East Tennessee and how important it is for her now to use her platform to give back. And you were touching on that just a second ago, that while Dolly Parton has a large war chest of money that she can toss around, it's not even what she brings in wallet size, it's the name Dolly Parton that means so much.
And I think we've seen that firsthand in Sevier County. When they said they want to build a new hospital, she was right on board and raised the money to build LeCompte Medical Center that you see. And it's now the Dolly Parton birthing unit when children are born in Sevier County at that hospital. It's the Dolly Parton Center for Women's Services at LeCompte Medical Center. So we've seen firsthand in Sevier County at the local hospital, and now with what she's been doing with children, you know, that song that came out that went all to donating to the children in Vanderbilt, in Nashville. So now this only extends the reach of Dolly into other communities and right back here in East Tennessee.
And you know that Children's Hospital and Cigna Health Insurance just went through a bit of a negotiation of sorts about the contract that the two of them operate under. It has been resolved. It is Cigna and Children's will continue that cooperation, but it also is a little bit difficult, you have to imagine, Kyle, to say no to a hospital that carries Dolly Parton's name when you're in negotiations. And so it's just so much larger in being able to continue to say, you know what, we're partnered up with one of the most powerful people in not just pop culture, but in culture in general, and be able to get it done. And so you just continue to look at what she has done as a whole, and this is just another addition to Dolly being Dolly.
And I was looking at the video there. They have a lot of name changing to do on all of those signs. They have to change this now from East Tennessee Children's Hospital to Dolly Parton Children's Hospital. But like the Imagination Library that has been so successful. She originally told us, she said, I thought maybe this would just happen in Sevier County, maybe 1 or 2 counties over. Now it has grown to be a worldwide thing, and people all over the world are getting these books in their communities. And so Dolly's reach to the kids, to adults, to almost every facet of what happens locally in Sevier County, East Tennessee, only expanding here.
Only expanding. All right, we teased it a little bit. Here is about 2 minutes and 15 seconds of the Queen herself. Here's Dolly Parton.
Well, hey there. It's Dolly, and I feel so fortunate to have grown up in the mountains of East Tennessee. As a little girl with big dreams, I was surrounded by family and people who believed in love, faith, music, and taking care of one another. And these experiences helped shape who and what I am today and what I believe in. Now, I learned these lessons early, and they've stayed with me. And ever since that I've been in a position to do my part and to help others, I have tried to do just that, especially when children and families need it most. Now, I've always believed that every child deserves a fair chance to grow up healthy, hopeful, and surrounded with love. Now, that belief is what brought me together with the incredible people at East Tennessee Children's Hospital. For nearly 90 years, their teams have provided compassionate and talented care. They see children not just as patients, but as precious little lives, each with a story and a future. Well, I would like to introduce you to someone from the hospital, CEO Matt Schaefer.
Thank you, Dolly. It is an honor to be here today with you. It's amazing how aligned you are with our mission to take care of each child that walks through our doors like one of our own. And now for some amazing news. East Tennessee Children's Hospital is becoming Dolly Parton Children's Hospital.
Oh, well, praise the Lord. That's a wonderful, wonderful thing, and I am so honored to support these doctors, nurses, and team members, and volunteers who show up every day with courage and kindness. In addition to expert care, children need hope, and they need comfort, and they need to know that they are seen and valued.
Together, we're committed to strengthening a partnership where world-class care and a caring heart go hand in hand for children across East Tennessee and beyond.
Well, I hope you'll join me in supporting this work. When we come together for our children, there is no limit to what we can do. To learn more or to get involved, visit dollychildrens.org.
Well, there you have it. Kyle, again, just a really cool thing that they're doing. Like you said, probably a handful of signs and things that they're going to have to overhaul. But just, again, talk about the weight that Dolly's name carries, not just in East Tennessee, but around the world.
Even around the world, sometimes I have some folks that are reaching out on Facebook and things, and sometimes it's their dream just to come walk the streets of Sevierville, even if she's not in town or not even getting the chance to meet her. But they're in Australia, they're in the UK, they're in Ireland. She has worldwide fan base that really connects with her and her songs and her music and her style of living, the giving back, the generosity, of course, trying to look like this fairy princess here that we have across East Tennessee, which oftentimes we will call the Queen.
Awesome stuff right there. Again, East Tennessee Children's Hospital, no longer. It is now Dolly Parton Children's Hospital. They hope to be a transformative agreement between the two. All right.
Your First Alert Forecast with meteorologist Kyle Granger.
Well, he's not just here to talk about Dolly, he's here to talk about rain too.
What
Kyle,
has impacted our entire morning.
Yes, it has. It was a mess on the roads this morning, now becoming a mess across Sevier County and Anderson County and all across East Tennessee.
Yeah, just as expected. We've had the rainfall that has moved in, and we've had some localized flooding issues. We thought ponding on roadways would be an issue, which we saw earlier this morning with all of the drives and the way things got delayed. But now we're starting to see it takes a minute for all of the water to run down all of the hillsides we have in East Tennessee, get into those creeks and streams, and some of them just are not designed to handle a tremendous amount of water. And so what happens is they start to overflow and spill over into areas. So here's the setup now. Just to go back to what you were saying, I know that Ridge Road in Pigeon Forge is closed due to flooding, and the golf course, the Sevierville Golf Course, is temporarily closed on the greens today because of flooding on the backside of the golf course there through the creek that runs down Old Knoxville Highway there. So those are the two alerts in Knox County. that we're looking at, or Sevier County at this time, not to mention other areas where we'll continue to see the creeks and streams come up. We also are seeing that heavy to moderate rain continue in Blount County, parts of Sevier at this time, so it will not go away anytime soon. Here's a closer inspection right around Strawberry Plains over the Holston River. We've got light rainfall for you all. It has calmed down drastically from Mooresburg to Whitesburg, and here's the broader perspective. Another batch of rain will move through here through the lunchtime, I think, especially for our northernmost communities off to the north of Interstate 75 and down into the Tennessee-Kentucky border. But we are looking at a clearing trend, so we will make some progress here. Now, here's the totals. So when you talk about an inch of rain that has fallen since midnight, so a 6-hour period here, we're looking at an inch from Oneida to an inch and a quarter for Oak Ridge. We're not too shy of that in Knoxville at 3/4 of an inch, as well as La Follette. And then we move into areas like Morristown. Now that's going to get a little jumbled over in Morristown because it's so close to the radar site. Sometimes it doesn't have a good estimate of exactly what was happening. But I would assume that we have at least that 1/4 of an inch in Morristown, over to Greenville an inch, Hartford about a 1/4, and then we move into Crossville down to Athens at 1/2 an inch of rainfall. So that is today. Now let's talk about what's to come. We will clear out as we move into the rest of the afternoon, but we're not going to totally take away the chance for seeing another shower move through. We're talking about a 10 to 20% coverage, but yes, that could aggravate some of these little creeks and streams. There you see the progress of rain moving through today by 1:30, 2 o'clock, and here's 4, with even another batch of rain trying to develop over Blount and Sevier counties. And that does break apart as we go into the evening hours, but look at 8 o'clock, still developing a shower over, say, I would call that the English Mountain area of Sevier County into Newport, before we see the stars and the moon try to emerge here tonight for a mostly to partly cloudy sky. Patches of fog will be with us tomorrow morning at 42. And then that north wind at 5 will be on the lighter side. Friday is a totally different story. The sunshine's coming back out. We want to go to the playground, whatever your outdoor activities are, sunny with 64 degrees and lots of sunshine. And then looking ahead to the weekend, of course, we get back into the mid-60s here for the afternoon, both Saturday and Sunday. A totally different story than today. But the bottom line for today, I can go back to some of the maps that we had there. We'll have batches and periods of rain that come through, but we still have a pretty good little amount of rain that will come through our northern areas, Tennessee, Kentucky border there. So when you're still looking at some of the rainfall totals, look at that again for you, an inch for many locations here this morning.
Yeah, just shy in Knoxville, and so that just shows quite a bit. And then Oak Ridge, almost an inch and a quarter. That's a pretty significant amount of rainfall, really, since late last night into now here the 10 o'clock hour.
Just before bed.
Yeah, just before bed. This morning. I do want to go ahead and get you to the Mac Mini real fast so we can, David Sykes, I don't know if this is routed correctly. If you can take a look at this, trying to show this on this Facebook page real fast from the Anderson County or Andersonville Volunteer Fire Department. If we can, David's going to work on this for us real quick to see if we're able to get that up there for you. It's a look at the flooding that they're seeing in Anderson County. They've shared this on their Facebook page of a couple of spots. While we're hopefully working on that, I'll go ahead and read a couple of areas in Andersonville and Anderson County that they're aware of. Irwin Mill, Pumpkin Hollow, Brooks Gap, and Byram's Fork. And then the Anderson County Emergency Management Agency is sharing that as of 9 o'clock this morning, Irwin Mill at Hines Creek, Pumpkin Hollow at Brooks Gap from the Interstate Bridge to Brushy Valley, Airport Road in Oliver Springs, and 1240 Byram's Ford flooded and closed. Offutt Spur Road at Offutt Road also flooded. So that's a handful of spots that they're taking a look at right now. That's in Anderson County that they're watching for flooded roadways. So that's a bit of an issue that they are working with currently as they're trying to sort that out. We're trying to get this for you if we're able to. Here are a couple of pictures that we might be able to use just to outline what it looks like. This is one of those pictures that the Anderson Volunteer Fire Department, Andersonville VFD, is sharing. This one specifically is Irwin Mill that you're looking at. That's one of those spots that's flooded. And so, Kyle, again, this is just a look at Anderson, but if you look into Oak Ridge, which means it would have worked into that direction, they got an inch and a quarter this morning.
And a prime example, when you see something like this, folks will be tempted to go across the road and say, I can make it through that. But the power of water is it only takes 6 inches to move your car. You don't know how deep it is when you get closer into, say, where what looks like it's going to be where the actual creek was, where the bridge crosses the road. We don't know how deep that is. You don't even know if that bridge is still there.
If it's still there, indeed.
So the road could have washed away. So this is why we always say turn around, don't drown in these situations, because it creates and we say it all the time, and someone always gets stuck and someone always dies in these situations. So we want to it sounds like we're always saying this, but it is tremendously imperative that you do not try to drive when you have a roadway that's completely covered with water and you can't see what's happening down below you or even off in the distance. We don't want you swept down the river, and then rescue crews then have to go out and do something different besides putting up a barrier or driving around a barrier that they have put up there. I haven't heard of any other issues in Sevier County. This time I'd watch to see if River Divide is going to have any issues there, because that's one of the prime locations that we look at a lot. But we know Ridge Road in Sevier County, and of course the backside of the Sevierville Golf Club closed here. The whole golf course is closed today, but flooding around the creek on the backside on Old Knoxville Highway.
Awesome. Kyle, I will go ahead and let you get out of here. Thank you, sir. Appreciate all your help. As always, as we continue catch up quick here at 10:30 on this final Thursday in the month of February. All right, right now, state legislature in a fury rush to get things done by the month of April as they sine die for this legislative session. A bill just signed by Governor Lee could change the entire scene for high school sports in the state of Tennessee. Most notably, when students and student athletes can transfer, and now officially signed by the governor, if a student athlete transfers, they will not have to sit out a season. Caveat to that, though, is they cannot transfer for athletics reasons. It has to be for academics or for student well-being. That's not that one is passed. It was signed by Governor Lee. It is now law in the state of Tennessee, or is set to become law. Probably usually July 1st is when those laws take effect. But there's another bill working its way that would make private schoolers eligible to play for public schools in the district that they are supposed to go to school in. That still has to work its way through the House. It passed the Tennessee Senate. Our Jared Austin's diving into all of this for us. He talked to a basketball coach and athletics director, how he feels about this and what he thinks could be a bit of a slippery slope.
Jody Wright has built up quite the basketball program at Fulton High. 5 state championships in the last 2 decades, but assembling his team for the future may look different.
Coaches all across the state of Tennessee are probably working on to making sure their roster doesn't look a whole lot different because I got guys going somewhere else.
Tennessee student athletes now have the chance to transfer to another school one time and not lose a year of eligibility. Wright worries about the future after this decision from state lawmakers.
Does this turn into the college model? Nobody wants to see what college athletics is. That genie's not going back in the bottle.
College athletics recently has been called the Wild West, with athletes getting paid now and what feels like players switching programs all the time. Jesse Smithy with 5-Star Prep says expect a lot more kids to transfer with this new rule.
Everything that we see at the college level has a trickle-down effect in some regard or some capacity on high school sports.
The TSSAA worked with state lawmakers on this, saying they're grateful to have been at the table for these conversations and feel their rules and state laws can still avoid recruiting in high school sports. Wright sure hopes that's the case.
How can we put safeguards in place? How can our bylaws align with state law and make sure that, again, high school kids aren't being exploited?
You can read all about this right now inside your WVLT News app. We do know right now that the TSSAA will have a council meeting in a couple of months to figure out how they want to move forward with this. They will most likely restrict this to a summer transfer window, and then they'll look at other ways that they can make sure that all of this is fair. Again, that law signed by Governor Lee, it'll become law soon, officially allowing a one-time transfer for student athletes in the state of Tennessee high school-wise without them having to sit out a year of competition, but it cannot be strictly for athletics. It has to have an academic aspect to it or for the student's mental health. Another bill currently working its way through the state legislature would allow private school athletes to play for public school sports teams in the district that they are required to go to school in if they were to go to public school. That one passed the Senate. It now heads to the House before it gets to Governor Lee's desk. Again, all of this and what else is going on in Nashville available for you right now inside your WVLT News app. Well, that's going to do it for us today on Catch Up Quick. We appreciate you joining us. As always, we are streaming 24/7 right here on WVLT+. Harry Sullivan will see you at noon with Kyle for a latest update on your breaking news stories of the day, your top headlines, other things happening around our country or across our country and around the world, in addition to news starting at WVLT News on 3:30 and right here on WVLT+ at 2, and our streaming show right here at 6:30 with Harry Sullivan. Again, we appreciate you joining us here on Thursday, February the 26th for Catch Up Quick. We'll see you back here to round out the week tomorrow.
Rich, the exciting free slots game from Zynga. Sumo Panda, how adorable. Mustang Money, a perfect choice.